supported us. But his presence on the field is obviously, he draws the attention of the opponents. His ability to hold the ball, all great players like him or a Messi or Ronaldo, everybody talks about their offensive prowess and scoring goals, but they're also all very good passers of the ball. And you saw that on display today. There were a couple of good passes from him as well.
Kevin?
I guess this is a little bit of a follow-up to that. When you brought him in, did you feel like you were rolling the dice a little bit? Aside from just drawing the defense, was there something that you had told him you wanted him to do, something you expected?
No, we just told him to play up and to work with Ola, and sometimes Ola would drop in. I think obviously as they get to practice together, they'll develop a coordination, with each other. I think Ibra's going to get a lot of assists on playing Ola into the spaces. We were thinking, do we go to a 3-5-2? Do we bring Ibra on and stay in a 4-4-2? We decided to go into a 4-4-2. Because I felt keeping four in the back was important because of the way they cheat on offense or they cheat on defense to play offense. So obviously it all worked out at the end. When it works out, you're a genius. When it doesn't work out, you're an idiot.
Coach, congratulations on an amazing comeback. Yesterday we spoke about the forward line from LAFC. You really struggled with that in the first half. You were able to make this comeback without three of your supposed best players, the Dos Santos brothers and Alessandrini. As the coach, that you must tell us how that feels and what that means to you to be able to play the way you did in the second half without those guys.
Yeah, I'm just very proud of this group. I don't want to talk about the guys who weren't out there. I want to talk about the guys who were out there, because the guys who were out there, certainly rolled up their sleeves. We did a much better job in the second half of when Rolf got forward, making sure we slid over and covered that space a little bit, between our midfielders and the central defense sliding over, and as a result of that, we were much better. I know we can play better. It wasn't a good first half for us overall, but I'm just proud of the effort and the battle that all those guys put in.
Sigi, I got two questions for you. One is just on the depth that this team showed today and how well that depth showed up, especially in the second half. And also at the end of the game, the players all got into a huddle, and you could see they were having a conversation that was very spirited. This kind of comeback, what can it mean in the greater scheme?
These are, I guess sports psychologists call them team building moments. You never know what are defining moments for a team, but this is the kind of game that becomes a defining moment. There's a realization within the group that nothing is impossible. You're 3-0 down, you can still come back. It helps build our character and our belief in our abilities. Last week in Vancouver was important. It was a hard-fought game that we got a 0-0 tie and a point on the road, and then being able to come back in a game like this, which, I'm sure if you would have taken a poll of the fans after it was 3-0, they would have said it's gone, it's lost. But then they show the character and the comeback. So those become defining moments for your team, and they really build the character of your team. Depth, obviously, that was something that we really tried to improve in the offseason. And so when you look at, there were guys that were missing for sure. But guys like Pontius steps up, Leggett, who I'll say again, we're playing way too many minutes right now. We need to get him off the field a little bit so he can. Bajo Isidic, the guys we've added, Romney coming off the bench and playing some key minutes for us. Very pleased with the improved depth of our team.
Ives.
Sigi, yesterday Zlatan said he'd play a minute if you need him, he'd start if you need him. Had you kind of arrive at that 30-minute kind of range, and was it input from him, the medical staff? And
I was input from all of us. We talked, and I talked to Zlatan, and I said, how'd you sleep last night? And we talked about that a little bit, and then obviously, we knew where he was at in terms of fitness and just the recovery from traveling overseas, and so we wanted to make sure, like I said before, we didn't do anything that was going to put him into a situation where he could get injured, because that's something we don't want to have happen. So we were like at 20, 25 minutes we felt would be good, and so that's what we ended up putting him in.
Take two more questions. Go ahead, Ives.
Yeah, just a quick follow. At one point it's 3-0. The Olays are starting to go around the crowd. They had the ball for a stretch, and then Leggett scores that goal and swings everything. If that turnaround doesn't happen, do you kind of leave Zlatan on the bench, or did you sense that the momentum had swung and the team had kind of been energized?
No, we were probably going to, even if it would have still been 3-0, we would have brought him on. But obviously, momentum is a huge thing in sports. The hard part is as a basketball coach, you can control momentum sometimes because you can call timeout and you can kill momentum and you can get momentum back onto your side. As a soccer coach, you can't really do that. Sometimes getting messages to guys because it was a very loud stadium today was also difficult. But certainly that was a key goal.
We'll go there and there. Last two questions.
What went through your head when you saw that first Ibrahimovic goal?
I turned to Dominic and my coaches and I said, that's just world class. You can't teach that. The vision to see that he's caught the goalkeeper off his line. The ability to raise his leg that high and hit the ball, is something that I don't think many of us can do, even in our best days. But just I had a coach I used to coach with, and he used to have a saying. He called it, "You got to dare to be brilliant. You can't do something brilliant unless you dare to be brilliant." And Ibrahimovic is a perfect definition of a guy who always dares to be brilliant. And if you do that, you pull off some things. That's got to be a goal that's going to go around the world. I'm sure it'll be a YouTube sensation. It was fantastic.
We'll go last question here.
Hey, Coach, to piggyback off what I've said on the momentum, when, as the coach and being able to feel the mood on the pitch and there on the bench, did you know that this game was turning and all the momentum had shifted and you had a chance to actually not just tie the game, but win the game?
Yeah, even when it went 3-0, we felt that we were starting to possess the ball and get forward and creating attacks. We wanted to get Ema forward a little bit more in the second half. Sometimes his running off the ball needs to be better, because he's got such great speed. So as we got him involved a little bit more, Rolf kept getting forward. Pontius, I thought, was having a pretty good game. So we started to put pressure on them. It wasn't a situation where they were, they had pressure on us on counters and on quick play, but in terms of possession, we dominated that part of it. But it's also a matter of playing forward. So once we started to get those chances, and then when Seba scored, then I felt, hey, this is a game that we can still get back into. And then obviously at 3-3, we're saying, hey, can we win this, or can we make something happen here still?
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Ziggy.
Thanks.